Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Week 6 NFL predictions video. I'm here with CFB Deep Dives, and before I get into it, I just want to remind you guys to use my code in my bio to get 30% off the picks from Trident DFS's premium Discord. These picks are awesome. We've profited over 600 units in 2024 alone. We'd had some huge wins. I'll put them up on the screen. Now let's get into predictions. All right. How are we doing, Aust? You ready to get into some predictions?
What's up, man? Doing pretty good.
All right.
Yes.
So, starting off, we have the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. The spread is 3.5 points for the 49ers on the road. Let's get into it. Aust, who you got?
Oh, man, this is a tough one. I really liked the Seahawks up until last week, especially playing at home. Tough environment, but then they, let the Giants come in there and put 420 yards up of total offense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very hard for me to pick this game. Now, I will say that the 49ers defense has not been great this year. They are, 20th in the league in yards per play allowed, and just hasn't been the same 49ers defense as they had in the past. They are actually they're actually a bottom 10 to 12 defense in the league, which is kind of shocking. But then again, it's like the Seahawks were expected to beat the Giants and they lost that game. So I'm just trying to figure this game out from a perspective of what is the obvious pick and then fading that. And I think the obvious pick would be San Fran minus 3.5 because again, they are favored. And there's a lot of road dogs this week, or a lot of road favorites, I should say, a lot of home dogs this week. So I'm going to take the Seahawks to cover the 3.5. I mean, I just think something's wrong with San Fran, be it injuries or what have you.
Yeah.
They just have not looked like themselves. I mean, they lost to the Cardinals at home last week.
Yeah, I didn't even give them a chance, honestly. I thought they were going to blow them out. So
yeah. So give me Seattle. I know they just lost at home to the Giants, but I think, being at home, they're going to bounce back. And I don't know if they'll win the game, but I think they'll cover the half. So I'll take Seahawks plus 3.5.
Okay, I'm going with the Niners. I just prefer the Niners. Just in terms of, I think in terms of offensive talent, obviously DK Metcalf, JSN are very talented, but I just like Jordan Mason. Although he did fumble last week, I like Jordan Mason. I like Debo, Kittle, Ayuk. I just think in terms of just pedigree, this is a way better offensive football team. Defense, I like the defense a lot more too. And I think this is kind of a get right game for both of them. But I prefer I prefer the 49ers in terms of I think the Cardinals on paper are actually a worse team than the Giants. I know that's kind of funny to say, but I think the Giants have a really good defense and
they do.
They're not really a team to kind of scoff at. Besides, if you take away that Vikings win, they've played almost or Vikings loss. They've played every single team pretty close. And they're not making, Daniel Jones, I don't think has even thrown a pick since week 1. So they're not making mistakes. So I think the Seahawks defense a little less talented than the 49ers defense. So yeah, I like the 49ers in this one. So let's move on to another London game. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Chicago Bears. The Bears are 2.5-point favorites. I actually kind of like the Jaguars in this game just to straight up win, I think. I like them. I like the momentum they're kind of coming off of. I like the Bears as well, but I think the Jaguars really needed to get a win after playing so close. Besides that Bills game, they've been playing every team very closely, and it's just kind of demoralizing to lose. They haven't tanked Bigsby. Tank Bigsby led the league in yards after contact with like 100 yards after contact last week. So
Um,
I know the Bears defense is good. I just think Bigsby's going to be getting tough yards after contact, and if they're able to get the run game going, the pass game should be able to follow. I think it'll be a closer game, not like a lower scoring game. Like I could see this is like a 20-17 type of game. Um, but
yeah.
I think I like the momentum of the Jags to carry over more into London because the Jags, this is going to be kind of like a home game for them
Yeah.
because there's a lot of Jaguars fans in London. And I don't know when the last time I've seen the Bears play in London, so maybe they're not really, the team's not used to it. The Jags are obviously used to it. So I like the Jags in this one.
Okay. Yeah. I pretty much agree with everything you said there. The Jags are way more acclimated to playing in London. Bears young on offense. Well, Caleb Williams
Yeah.
particularly. So it's going to be kind of a, how is he going to adjust? But I just think of the Bears defense, and the mantra is always that defense travels, and Brian Thomas has looked really good for the Jags, and I think they really have something with him. Um, it's just very hard for me to pick against the
Bears
Bears in this
defense.
spot, just
Yeah.
because I think that between the two teams, the best unit, between the four, Bears defense, Bears offense, Jags defense,
Yeah.
is the Bears defense.
Uh huh.
I think that's the single best unit um, between the teams, and I will take the Bears to cover that 2.5 point spread.
Okay. So you're going Bears. I'm going Jags. All right.
Yep.
Let's move on to the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Titans in Tennessee. The Colts are 1 point favorites. Uh, I like the Colts in this game. Um, I liked how Joe Flacco looked against the Jags. The Jags have an improving defense. Trevon Walker had 3 sacks. Speaking on the last game a little bit, but I think Joe Flacco makes his offense competent. It's able to stay on the field for a long time. They were able to run the ball with Trey Sermon. If they get Jonathan Taylor back, they're going to be able to run on Tennessee, I think. Um, yeah, I think
What's his status?
um, it's a low ankle sprain, I know, which I know that's like kind of what he's been dealing with, but I think he was really questionable even to go in to play this game, so I'm assuming he's going to be back. If it was just, this is just based off of me seeing the injury from last week. I think he'll play, but we have to wait for practice on Wednesday just to see if he's limited or what's going on. But I like JD to play. I don't know if they're gonna play Richardson. That's another thing kind of swinging point. So
Yeah.
I'll just go. I'll go with the Colts because I just think in terms of Joe Flacco, I prefer Joe Flacco over Will Levis. So yeah, give me the Colts in this one.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird. I would like the Colts more if I knew they were starting Flacco, but I don't. Um,
Yeah,
and Jonathan Taylor, I think they said it is they're just saying ankle sprain. There's no like word on whether or not it's a high or low ankle sprain. Um, this article says from the Indy Star, it says Jonathan Colts running back feeling good as Titans week open. Um, the
I
Titans
see.
have not been very good this year,
No.
but I feel like they've been in a lot of close games other than the Packers game. Well, yeah, yeah, two losses, Bears 24-17, Jets 24-17. I think the Titans might not be as bad as people are saying, possibly. And they've got a pretty tough stretch coming up after this. They have Colts, and then they're at Bills, at Lions.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not going to be fun.
I don't see them winning
Um,
either of those. Um, because I
I,
think
I'm going to take the Titans here at home. I just think they played the Bears tough. If Will Levis can just limit the turnovers, you know, that's the reason they lost to the Bears. They were on pace to blow the Bears out, and
Very true.
just a ton of turnovers.
Same thing
Ton
with
of
the
turnovers.
Jets. I mean, he had that stupid play. I feel like every game they lose just because Will Levis. Like they're
Yeah,
able to play pretty competently.
they
Um,
lost by a touchdown, but they had two turnovers to the
yeah,
Jets, none. Statistically, pretty much outperformed the Jets in every other category other than turnovers. I think that the Titans might not be as bad as people are saying, so I'm going to take the Titans plus
okay.
a point.
All right. I don't hate that pick either. Honestly, if Richardson plays, I might change my pick over to the Titans because I do like L'Jarius Sneed, and I do
Yeah.
like, you know, Aziz Al Shair, any of those guys on the defense of, and I like some of their offensive pieces as well. I like Ty J Spears. I liked Levis last year. He's just kind of looked worse, honestly, this year. So
Yeah, it feels like he's trying way too hard. He's doing the Carson Wentz thing.
yeah, exactly. He's kind of like he just doesn't want to take a sack, and he'll do anything to not take a sack, and including
Yeah.
turn over the ball, which is dumb.
Yeah, he's doing the Carson Wentz thing where everything is like, you know, fourth down, Super Bowl on the line.
Yeah,
Got to make a play.
exactly, exactly. So that is probably one of the closest matchups of the week. I think just in terms of spread and like talent wise, I think that's a very close game. I mean, the
Yeah,
money
it is.
line is
It is the
basically a
closest line.
pick 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that game. I think that should actually be a pretty entertaining game. Let's move on to a game that I actually kind of have like a weird sneaky suspicion that the underdog might win, even though I like have been picking against them, and they're my team. The Browns at Philadelphia Eagles. The Browns are 8.5 point dogs on the road. Um,
Yeah.
I think if Jalen Hurts plays like he's been playing, I mean, I in terms of defensive talent, I think the Browns have a better defense in terms of stopping big plays from happening compared to the Bucks, and the Bucks are able to like destroy the Eagles. I don't know if that's just a Todd Bowles matchup thing because he knows how to beat them or what, or if
Mhm.
the Eagles don't have the Avengers, if they don't have AJ Brown and Devonta Smith playing, I would really like the Browns in this game. If they have either one of those guys, I think the Eagles will win. But I mean, honestly, we've kind of seen Jalen Hurts a little exposed without two great wide receivers to throw to, right? Um,
Sure.
so, and I listen. I mean, you can watch our last video. I do not think Deshaun Watson is good. Neither of us think Deshaun Watson is good.
Yeah. He's
Um,
horrible.
but if they're able to run the ball, which the Eagles haven't been that great against the run this year, as they were a couple years ago. They were like really, really good 2 years ago against the run. They've kind of been worse and worse as the seasons have gone on. Um,
Yeah.
I think if they're able to get Jerome Ford, Deonta Foreman going, this could be a Cleveland Browns win. And if anything, they might just cover the spread. This might be the Eagles win by 3 points instead of 8. So I'll take the Browns here. Actually,
Okay. Um, yeah, this is kind of a tough one because I think the Eagles are, I don't know, they just don't seem like a very healthy team.
mm-hmm.
Not in terms of like their injuries, because I guess they are expecting to have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Lane Johnson. Those guys are expected to be able to play in this game. But it just seems like something's wrong in Philly, and you know my thoughts on Sirianni.
Yeah,
You agree with me on
I don't like
Sirianni.
Sirianni.
I don't think the guy is a very good head coach.
I haven't liked
I
him
think
since they hired him. That's how long I
yeah,
haven't liked him as a coach. Um,
he's just too much of a sideshow, man.
yeah,
With all of his antics, and I just they don't they have a lot of talent, but I just don't like. I don't know. There's something that I just don't really like about them, and they rank 18th in the league in yards per play. Actually, 15th in the league in yards per play offensively.
Eesh.
Defensively, 29th in the league. Terrible. Um, and yeah, I just I don't know. There's something wrong with the Eagles, man. It just feels like that maybe the locker room chemistry is off or something
Yeah.
like that. It just feels like there's a lot of drama with them. Um, at the same time, the Browns feel more unhealthy than they do.
Very true.
And this game's being played in Philadelphia, and I just think the Browns are awful. They're just so awful. They have no juice at all. I mean, like running the ball, they don't really get a ton there. I mean, their offense is just abysmal. I mean, they're dead last in the league in yards per play. I can't trust the Browns at all. I'm taking the Eagles and the 9-point spread, which is a ton of points.
Yeah.
But I'm taking the Eagles.
Okay. So I'm going Browns, you're going Eagles. All right, let's move on to another game in the 1 o'clock window. Arizona Cardinals at Green Bay Packers. I got a 5-point spread here on ESPN. Packers are favorite at home. We've seen kind of Jordan Love looking better than he did last week. Last week he threw 3 interceptions, I'm pretty sure. Along with 4 touchdowns, might add. So it wasn't just like a trash game altogether. But I think he looked better against the Rams. Obviously, the Rams defense is not on the level that the Vikings defense is on. I mean, the Vikings defense is like one of the best in the league. Brian Flores is just doing wonders right now. But for some reason, I want to pick the Cardinals in this game. I don't know if it's just because I saw them beat the Niners last week. I don't know what it is, but I'm really leaning towards the Cardinals. And it's a 5-point spread, so this could theoretically be kind of like how the Cardinals played the 49ers, and it's a close kind of one-score game type of thing, like a 3-point game. So I want to say I want to go with the Cardinals. But I kind of been picking some underdogs here. So let me go with the Packers. I'm just going to go with the favorites. Let me get the Packers -5.
Packers to cover the 5. Yeah, it's at Lambeau. Yeah, the Cardinals are such a confusing team. I mean, that game, I guess the Commanders are blowing everybody out, but they went on the road against the 49ers, but this one is a second consecutive road game, and they got to go, from Arizona to Green Bay. Obviously not going to be super cold in Green Bay.
Yeah.
If it was a lot colder in Green Bay, if it was next month or something, I wouldn't hesitate to take the Packers. But I can't really get a line on the Cardinals. I don't really know. I don't really have a good feel for them. And Green Bay's kind of been tough to trust, but they did get a road win, against the Rams. And the Rams are scrappy, even though they've got tons of injuries.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with you on this one and take Green Bay -5. I feel like the Cardinals are such an up and down team, and it just feels like, going to Lambeau is too much of an ask for that team.
Yeah, and we've seen Kyler kind of like lose some steam if they don't get out to an early lead. I don't know what it is, but like they were in that game because Kyler was able to score the first touchdown against the Niners. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that against the Packers. The Packers have been looking, like I said earlier, better and better as Jordan Love's coming back from this injury. So I think we're going to see kind of a faster start, especially against a Cardinals defense that's not that good really anywhere against anything. They're not terrible, but I mean, actually, I think against the run, they're kind of like bottom 5 in the league. But against the pass, they're not awful, but they're not great either. They're very middle of the pack. So I think...
Yeah, the Cardinals are horrible against the run.
Yeah, I think really we're just going to see Josh Jacobs, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks. I think we're going to see them just kind of take over this game. Maybe we'll see some Maserati Marv.
Well,
And
actually, no, they're actually not that bad against. Sorry, I got
oh,
that wrong
okay.
there.
I see. I
They're
remember when I was looking at Jordan Mason because I put the parlay out last week. That was Jordan Mason over 88 and a half rushing yards, which he did barely. He had 89 rushing yards, so I was able to save my reputation on that one. But um, I mean, they at least on ESPN were ranked as the 29th against running backs, like in terms of points, just yardage. So I
yeah.
figured they were just really bad. But what are they ranked?
Well, they've let up a lot of rushing yards, fifth most in the league, but in terms of yards per carry against, they actually rank 19th. So they're not super horrible against the run.
So they're like around middle, like middle of the NFL level defense.
Yeah, ish,
Okay.
ish, maybe a little bit below average.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I don't think they're the worst team, and I don't think they're the best team. But yeah, I like the Packers in this game. Um,
Yeah, me too. I'm
let's
taking them too.
let's move on to the Washington Commanders going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Ravens are 6.5 point favorites at home. Um, we saw Lamar. I mean, Lamar threw 4 touchdown passes, and they also had Derrick Henry have a great game against the Cincinnati defense, which is very weak. I'd say right now they're not the worst, but they've been very weak against the run. Um, Besides Camp Taylor Britt, Camp Taylor Britt's kind of the difference maker in the passing game. But other than that, we've seen the Commanders beat the Bengals. We've seen the Patriots beat the Bengals. They're not a very um, solid defense. So I don't know how much stock to put in the Ravens for beating the Bengals, especially going to
Yeah,
overtime with them when we saw the
yeah,
Commanders beat them in regulation. Um,
yeah.
uh, I think I actually like the Commanders to cover the spread here, but I might regret it just in terms like has Jaden Daniels seen this good of a defense yet? Although he did see the Bucks, the healthy Bucks week 1, and the Bucks were kind of able to limit him in terms of what he could do passing. Um, but his rushing upside was crazy that game. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. So I think
I mean, that was also his first career game too.
that
So
too. So I actually like the Commanders here to cover the spread. I don't know if they'll win, but I think they're going to cover this 6.5 point spread. Um, I mean, they're not traveling far. They're going to
right.
Baltimore from Washington, so this is literally like an hour, not even. Um, so I like the Commanders on the road. It's barely on the road for them. Yeah, give me Washington. Uh, just
Okay.
covering the spread here. I don't know if they'll win, but I like them to cover.
Yeah, part of me does not want to bet against Washington because, Jaden Daniels continues to surprise and win games, but the stat that I just can't get over is the Commanders are second worst in the league at stopping the run.
Oof, yeah.
5.1 yards per carry allowed. It's second only to the Buffalo Bill or second last only to the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo
Which
Bills
we
are
saw
dead
the Bills
last.
get cooked by Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And the
might change my
Ravens are
pick.
number 1 against the run.
It's true.
Number 1 against the run, Baltimore. So it's I mean, the thing is you can throw on Baltimore,
Yeah, I mean, against the pass, they're not that good. I
but
said that last week, and Joe Burrow was able to throw 5 touchdowns against them. So,
yeah, you can throw on them for sure. I don't know if Jaden Daniels will be able to.
especially, yeah, I
Um,
was thinking about
just
that.
because
He's only really
Joe
has
Burrow.
Terry as the biggest, Terry's his biggest target. They might just double Terry the whole game. Make the Commanders beat him with Zach Ertz and Luke McCaffrey, especially if they're going
Yeah,
to be taking Eckler and Brian Robinson out of the game. So
right.
yeah, I might want to change my pick. I will revise my pick to the Ravens. Actually, thinking about that, I'm gonna go
Okay.
Ravens.
All right.
So we're
Okay,
both picking
so
Ravens.
that's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I just can't. I just can't take the second worst run defense in the league against Baltimore.
Yeah, I unfortunately think they might actually kind of start blowing them out this game. the Ravens.
Yeah.
I think the Commanders, when they're in close games, they're able to kind of get that Brian Robinson, Eckler, McNichols thing going and pass, and that's what makes him dangerous, kind of like Cliff Kingsbury. Um, but I think Cliff Kingsbury loves that whole like put your wide receiver on the left, your wide receiver one on the left side of the field, and don't move him around, don't try and scheme him open. So if that's going to be the case, I could totally just see the Ravens shutting McLaurin down, which I don't think bodes very well. So yeah,
Right.
I am definitely changing my pick over the Ravens. Um, let's move on to another. This is a divisional game at 1 o'clock as well. This is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going on the road, taking on the New Orleans Saints. The Buccaneers are
Yeah.
minus 2.5 point favorites on the road.
They're 2.5. I thought it was three.
Oh,
3.5.
okay. I'm on ESPN. ESPN is giving me 2.5. Um,
Okay.
but
Right.
I think
Might have just read that wrong then.
I
I
think
see 3.5 on ESPN. Buccaneers Saints.
oh,
Yeah.
this is weird.
Tampa
I
Bay
don't know.
minus-
I'm on week 6 betting odds. I don't know. It's a different one maybe. But I like the Bucks here, minus 2.5 or minus 3. Um, I think I prefer the Bucks on the road. I think especially no Derek Carr. Um, we've kind of seen that the Bucks play a little better against this type of Saints. This Saints not without Sean Payton. Now that Sean Payton's not here, I think the Bucks are able to beat the Saints a lot more. My only issue is Todd Bowles' zone defense is kind of he loves the blitz with the zone. Um, we kind of saw it get exposed against the Falcons, where like obviously they were able to get sacks. I think they got like 4 or 5 sacks on Kirk,
Cousins.
but they were able to they weren't able to stop the passing to a large degree. They were able to shut down Bijan, which I think they might be able to shut down Kamara all the same. So if they can shut down Kamara, I would say let Jake Haener beat us type of thing. So I'll go with the Bucks here. I just like their offense. I like all the pieces. Bucky Irving, Mike Evans, Godwin are playing awesome. Baker's playing great. And I mean, Sterling Shepard as their number 3. He's really stepped up. Him and Baker have chemistry because they played together at Oklahoma. So I like the Bucks.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the Bucks too, just because of that Derek Carr injury. I know we said we were out on the Saints. The insanity runs over.
Yeah.
I'm seeing though that the Saints might actually start Spencer Rattler
Ooh.
instead of Jake Haener.
Hmm.
Obviously, it would be his first career NFL game. He may have more upside than Jake Haener.
I think he does, but I think he also kind of brings more risk. Is that just me? I think he's kind of riskier because Jake Haener, obviously, he's just been a backup for a year. So
And if Todd Bowles is going to be blitzing him left and right,
yeah,
I don't trust a guy making his first career start to be able to.
and their line isn't that great. The Saints, it was playing pretty good to start the season off, but I think they were kind of they have some injuries now, so it's a tough start. I think it's a very tough start to be, starting against a divisional rival, in your first career start, especially one like the Bucks.
Yeah, give me the Bucks minus 3.5.
All right, yeah. So let's go on to the last game in the 1 o'clock window. This has another rookie quarterback starting. Houston Texans -7 on the road against the New England Patriots, starting Drake May in his first career start. I kind of like the Patriots, although it's kind of like it's really just dependent on how Drake May looks. I like Drake May coming out of college. I like his speed. I like just his throwing ability. Although we don't know if this is really going to translate. We saw he looked pretty explosive in the preseason. That's preseason football. That's not regular season football. And he didn't look anything to write home about against the, I think it was the Jets, right? Where they were getting blown out and they kind of put him in towards the end of the game.
I think.
Yeah, so I it's kind of hard for me to want to pick the Texans. I think the Texans have kind of been a little disappointing this year. Um, and I really thought they should have won that game against the Dolphins. Sorry, the Patriots should have won the game against the Dolphins. So I really want to say Patriots here. Probably gonna regret it, but yeah, I'll go with Patriots covering the spread.
Okay. I will take the Texans to cover. The Patriots are seventh worst against the pass in terms of net yards per attempt allowed and passing yards to total passing yards against.
Isn't Nico Collins hurt though?
Yeah, he is, but they've got Tank Dell and
He's kind of been
Stephon
trash
Diggs.
though. I mean, he's dropped a lot of passes. I don't know if he did that against the Bills. I didn't really see him against the Bills all that much. Um, but I mean, obviously Diggs is a touchdown machine so far. But I mean,
Yeah.
no Nico Collins hurts them a lot because I think
Oh,
I like Gonzalez.
absolutely does.
I like Christian Gonzalez
Absolutely
a
does.
lot, and if he's going to be matched up against older Stephon Diggs, I think that's a pretty good matchup for him. Um,
Okay. All right. Well,
yeah, but continue with your pick. Sorry.
no, I think I'm buying what you're selling here. I don't expect the Patriots to win, but I think they could cover the 7, so I'm going to take Patriots plus 7.
Yeah, I do. I
At
really
home.
like that Drake May upside because with Jacoby, you know what you're getting. You know you're going to get 150 yards a game. You're going to maybe get a touchdown to Hunter Henry. But, I mean, with Drake May, you might be getting 2 touchdowns. You might get 3. You might get, like a Bo Nix type of game where he passes for 2 and he runs 1 in. You don't know.
Right.
I like
Or
the,
you could get 3 interceptions and 2
yes,
fumbles.
that too. But, I mean,
So I'll roll the dice.
yeah, I like the run game too, honestly. I think in terms of injuries as well, we're looking at the Texans missing Cam Akers and Damian Pierce again, I think. I don't know if that's 100% confirmed, but or not Damian Pierce and Joe Mixon, I mean, and starting Cam Akers. So if they're missing Joe Mixon again, I actually like the Patriots run game. I mean, they've been kind of doing this 1-2 punch of Ramondre and Gibson.
Yeah.
So I think the Patriots offense has some upside here, especially Jalen Polk kind of looking pretty decent. Who knows how he's going to look with Drake May throwing him the ball. Yeah, I think I like the Patriots to cover this one.
Yeah, it seems like they're just begging you to take Houston minus 7. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to take the bait. I'm going to take the Patriots plus 7.
All right.
And we could regret it, but I think
We're
I
rolling
think you
the
kind
dice.
of gotta yeah, we'll roll the dice on Drake May that he doesn't suck.
Just, yeah, completely blow.
That he's just stink up the joint.
All right, so let's move on to the 4 o'clock window. The first game we got is the Los Angeles Chargers traveling over to Denver to take on the Broncos. The Chargers are minus 3-point favorites.
Yeah, this is now our hold on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. It's our 5th road favorite of the day, and we've got another one. 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 road favorites this week.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 out of the 14 games.
I think this line should be closer. I mean, a 3-point spread against the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos. I mean, defenses look really, really good, and the Chargers' passing offense does not look great. It's not look bad, by any means. I like Lad McConkey. I like Quentin Johnston, but I mean, how healthy of a Justin Herbert are we getting? I know they had a bye week. But he's been dealing with a pretty bad ankle sprain, I've heard, and he's just kind
Yeah.
of toughing it out. So I don't like that mobility against the Denver pass rush that's been able to get pressure on the quarterback, kind of force him to make bad throws, like we saw Gardner Minshew make last week with that pick 6 to Patrick Surtain. Although I don't know if I want to pick against Harbaugh. I like picking coaches in terms of these close games, and Harbaugh
Yeah.
versus Peyton is a very hard matchup for me. I like both of these coaches. I think I like the upside of the Chargers offense. Although It's hard. It's kind of hard because aren't the Chargers dealing with a lot of injuries as well? Like,
I mean, they always are.
yeah. So I don't know. With how Bo Nix looked, was that just the Raiders sucking, or was that Bo Nix kind of starting to come into his own? I know he hasn't thrown any interceptions. I think since week two, it was. He's been pretty good since then. Um, Obviously, he had three total touchdowns last week.
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning Broncos this game, although like just with how we saw Bo Nix look. Although I wouldn't want to I wouldn't want to fade the Chargers. Is what I mean. This is a hard game for me to pick. So I'll get back
It
to you.
is.
I'll let you pick, and then I'm gonna think over.
Okay. All right. Well, so the Broncos are elite defensively. The Chargers are kind of right up there, a little bit behind them. Um, Obviously, we know the Chargers are going to try to run the ball. The Broncos are eighth, actually seventh against the run. They're a lot better against the pass. They're like super elite against the pass. Um, it's a very tough game to pick. I totally agree with you.
Yeah,
But you got the Chargers coming off the bye,
very
but
true.
then again, you have the Broncos at home. I'm gonna just go back here, and I know we're talking about Justin Herbert being injured, but I am going to go with the Chargers on the road to cover the 3 points, and I'm just doing that purely because of Justin Herbert.
Okay. This is very hard. Like we're saying, I feel like this is a very close matchup, and 3 point spread is really hard as well because I think this game is going to be decided by a field goal. I mean, it might be a total defensive slugfest like we saw against the Jets, with the Broncos kind of just eking by barely.
Yeah, the 10-9 game.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel
It has the lowest total. It has the lowest total week at 35.5 points.
Yeah, I honestly kind of like the Broncos' momentum going in to this game because they're on a 2-game win streak now. They beat the Jets. Now they beat the Raiders. And I think we saw them get hot last year with Russ when, they had the really slow start. And then they were able to kind of heat up. And they won, I think it was 4 or 5 straight, maybe 6 straight. They won a lot of games. I'm going to go with the Broncos on this one. I think I just kind of like the momentum with them, with how they're looking so far. And I hope Bo Nix is going to improve, more and more each game.
Yeah, I like your pick. I don't love my Chargers pick, but I don't know. It's hard for me to bet against Harbaugh.
Yeah,
And,
I wouldn't be surprised if
quarterback.
either team won. This is not a game where I'm thinking like, oh yeah, Broncos are going to kill them type of thing. This is a very close matchup, and I'm just barely favoring the Broncos here, in terms of who I'm picking.
Right.
So let's move on to another game, the 4 o'clock window. This is another road favorite, as Austin mentioned earlier. The Steelers traveling to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. They are 3-point favorites. I favor the Steelers actually a lot in this game. Obviously not
It's
a
hard
lot,
not to.
and obviously not like a ton, but I think I like where Justin Fields is at in terms of he looked pretty decent against the Cowboys defense, which has been improving this year. They obviously have not looked great. They've not looked like the last year Dan Quinn Cowboys defense, but they're improving week by week. And you look at the Raiders, these are basically two polar opposites in terms of stability right now. You have the Steelers, which are like one of the most stable teams in the NFL. I mean, you have Tomlin. You basically have that system that's been there forever, basically. And
Yeah.
they're rolling with Fields again. And as long as they're rolling with Fields and as long as they trust Fields, I don't see any reason to fade him. I like his rushing upside against the Raiders. We saw what Bo Nix was able to do, and I think Justin Fields is a way better rusher than Bo Nix.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I like this. I don't like, they're having a QB competition midweek to see who's going to start. The Raiders are. That's pretty bad. Now you're having AOC and Minshew competing. So I don't like where the Raiders are heading. Obviously, they have the whole Devontae situation, so I like the Steelers a
Yeah,
lot in this game.
me too. The only thing that gives me pause is, just the idea that it seems like it's just begging you to take that Pittsburgh -3. It's like, come on, Raiders are terrible. Pittsburgh's pretty good.
Yeah,
Even though Pittsburgh's on the road, they're going to have the majority in that stadium. They're going to have tons of terrible towels going all over the place. Um, but this just seems like a Tomlin game.
yep,
Rookie quarterback probably going to start. Um, no Devontae Adams. The Raiders don't really run the ball that well, do they?
no, I mean they have Zamir White and Alexander Madison, and I'm not high on either of those guys, and I don't think they've really performed very well either. So
Pittsburgh. This is the second lowest point total of the week
behind
behind the
Chargers,
Chargers,
Broncos.
Denver. I just, it's so hard for me to come up with reasons to not take the Steelers, which is what I'm trying to do, because it does feel like one of those rat lines where it's like, come on, just take the Steelers.
Yeah.
Right? And it almost seems like somebody knows something like this. Shouldn't the Steelers be favored by like 8 or 9 in this game? Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I wonder if they're just kind of taking into account like the Raiders defense, which hasn't blown me away. It hasn't looked awful, hasn't looked good. So I don't know really. I don't know what they're
pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean I like Max Crosby. I think he's kind of like the cornerstone of that defense, and they missed him 2 weeks ago. They obviously got him back last week. I just don't think that the Raiders defense is going to be able to perform like the Cowboys defense has against the Steelers. And like I said earlier, I don't see that. I didn't see the Raiders being able to stop Bo Nix as a rusher very much. Obviously, he wasn't like just Justin Fieldsing out there and running for 100 yards or anything, but he was able to use his legs to get some yards when he needed to. Got the rushing touchdown, obviously. I'm not favoring. I mean, obviously, I'm not favoring the Raiders defense against Justin Fields, who's probably. I don't know. I don't want to say he's the best because we have Lamar, probably the best running quarterback, one of the best running quarterbacks.
It's between him, Lamar, and Daniels.
Yeah, Daniels as well. So I mean, top. So obviously, like a top 3 rusher at the quarterback position. I just favor Justin. Just getting it done with his legs if they're able to, negate the passing, which I don't know if they will be. And we've seen Najee actually kind of improving a little bit. Obviously, he's not. I'm very low on Najee Harris.
Yeah. Are you locked in on Pittsburgh then?
Yeah, I'm on Pittsburgh.
Okay. I'm just gonna. Just because I feel like the -3 is a trap, I'm gonna take Raiders +3. I don't think they win the game, but I could see like maybe even a push, 23-20 or 20-19 or 17-15 or some wacky stuff like that. So
yeah.
I will take the Raiders to cover. It feels stupid, but
hey, it's the NFL. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'll give them a bounce back game.
Okay.
Brock Bowers goes crazy again.
Oh, that could happen. Let's move on to a 4:25 game. We got the Atlanta Falcons on the road favorites again, taking on the Carolina Panthers. I have a 6.5 point spread. Do you have a different one, Austin?
6.
Okay.
Just 6
6. Okay. I like the Falcons in this game, and I know we've been kind of talking about want to stay away from obvious picks, but I can't find any reason to pick against the Falcons and pick for the Panthers here. I mean, I think the Bucs have a better defense than the Panthers do, just in terms of every piece. Maybe besides J.C. Horn and Zion McCollum, but they're pretty close in terms of talent. I like Zion McCollum a lot. But I mean, we saw Kirk Cousins drop 509 passing yards, 4 touchdowns on the Bucs. I don't even want to see what's going to happen against the Panthers. Is he going for 1,000 passing yards today? That day, I mean, I can't see a reason why I'd want to pick the Panthers at all. So I'll take the Falcons -6.
Falcons -6. I'm going to do the same. I think the bump, the Dalton bump, after they bench Bryce Young, put Dalton in there. They rallied, beat the Raiders, or is that who they beat?
Yeah, that was the one
Yeah,
team they beat.
I think that's over. I mean, they just got absolutely dump trucked by the Bears.
Hmm.
Yeah, they'll be at home. It's a division rivalry game, but I think Atlanta's good. I think Atlanta's actually a good team.
They beat the Eagles. They played the Chiefs close. I mean, who hasn't
They
though?
played
But
the Steelers really
they played the
close.
Steelers. I mean, and that was the Arthur Smith revenge game, and that's Kirk coming off of that injury. That's his first game with the team.
Uh
So
huh. Yeah.
I mean, they did look a little slow out there and just kind of not on the same page. And they've improved every week. So I I
Yeah.
see them getting better as the year goes on.
I like Atlanta in that one.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most obvious pick we've had so far this week because there's been a lot of pretty like close, tough matchups.
And that's the kind of thing that scares me. But
Yeah, I think the Panthers and the Raiders are going to be competing in the draft lottery. I don't think they're going to be competing for a playoff spot. Um, so it's very rare that I'm going to pick the Panthers or the Raiders to win a football game this year, with how they're looking. Um, now
yeah, they're not good.
let's go on to the Detroit Lions taking on the Dallas Cowboys. In Dallas, Lions are favored to win. I have 3.5 points. Austin, what do you have?
Same.
Okay,
Three
three
and a
and a
half.
half. Um, I this is a hard game for me to pick because I like how the Lions offense has been able to run the ball, especially they were cooking the they were cooking the Seahawks on the ground. They had Jameer Gibbs. I think Jameer Gibbs had 2 touchdowns, and I think Monty had one. Monty's got that overtime touchdown against the Rams week 1. They've been kind of putting the emphasis on running the ball this year, and the Cowboys against the run. I think I gotta look that up. I think they're actually like
Yeah, I'll get you. I
okay.
got you.
I think they're kind of
Um,
middle of the pack against the run. I think that they're actually
they are.
yeah. I think they're kind of
They're
better.
they're 11th. They're
Okay.
11th
Oh,
against
so
the run, or
they're
12th. 12th.
so they're in the upper echelon of against the run. And like I said, in that Steelers game, I think the Cowboys defense is looking better as the season has kind of gone on. They're kind of finding their footing. Mike Zimmer's kind of
Hmm.
figuring out what to do. Obviously, we're hoping to get Micah Parsons back. Uh, they hoping to get Deron Bland back at some point this year. Um, I just feel like this is the game that Jared Goff will throw like a pick to Trevon Diggs because, I mean, if there's any cornerback that Jared Goff's throwing a pick to, because Jared Goff, I love him, but he's kind of good for a pick a game. At least a turnover worthy play a game, kind of like a Josh Allen type of guy.
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be the one where it's going to be a close offensive game, like Dak and CD and Amon-Ra and Goff are able to keep both teams in it, and
Hmm.
it's going to come down to like, oh, Trevon Diggs gets a pick six on Jared Goff, and the Cowboys win. So I kind of favor the Cowboys at home here. I mean, this is a 52.5 point over under.
Yeah. It's the highest
So
of the week. Other than it's tied with the Commanders and Ravens.
I,
The highest of the week.
I like Dak and the Cowboys, especially because I thought, they should have lost that. Like, that was the game they should have lost last week. Really tough defensive game in the rain. That's the type of game the Cowboys usually lose, especially against the Steelers. And they win.
Yeah.
So I like that momentum for them. I think they're going to be back home now. This is going to be I would say, an easier matchup. I wouldn't say like in terms of players because this is a way better team than the Steelers in terms of just overall talent, but easier in terms of like this defense is kind of vulnerable. We saw Baker cook them. Their corners aren't that great. So this could be a Dak, 3 touchdown game or something like that. They got Jake Ferguson. They got CD. They got Jalen Tolbert. I don't know if Brandon Cooks will be back, but yeah, I'm favoring Dak in this game and the Cowboys. Give me the Cowboys at home.
Yeah. I can't really add a whole lot to what you said. I just have a very strong gut feeling that the Lions are going to lose this game. And given that they are road favorites, I really want to take the Cowboys So you're going to take Dallas plus 3.5.
Yeah, yeah, I'm taking Dallas to win or cover.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of road favorite, and I'm inclined to fade the road favorites. Um, but one of these road favorite lines is going to be right, and I know we took Atlanta -6, both of us did.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we faded the Texans laying 7 against the Patriots.
Mm-hmm. I took the
It's
Bucks as well on the road. They're going to be in New Orleans.
Yeah, we took that. I don't know. I really feel like the Lions are going to lose the game, but I'm just gonna. I think I'm gonna fade myself and just take the Lions to cover the 3.5. Maybe the Cowboys kind of get a little high on their supply after going on the road and beating Pittsburgh and just
Yeah.
kind of thinking getting big heads and thinking they're because the Cowboys, they're not a team that knows how to win. They're not a winning franchise. They're like a 9-8,
Yeah.
10-7 kind of franchise.
Yeah.
And I really think the Lions are just winners. So I'm
Yeah.
going to take the
Especially Dan
Lions. I'm going to
Campbell.
go against my better judgment and pick the Lions here.
Okay. Yeah, I think this will be, a closer game. Although
It just
it's got that
it
gut
just,
feeling it's going to be some sort of defensive turnover for the Cowboys that's going to change the game.
it's going to be a bonkers game.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be
Yeah.
a bonkers game for sure.
This
It will be
This is a
back
fantasy
and
football
forth.
manager's dream right here. This is going to be, if you got Jahmyr
Yeah.
Gibbs, you're starting him. If you got Monty, you're starting him. If you got Rico Dowdle, freaking throw him in your flex spot and start him.
J-Mo. Just get some big
J-Mo, yeah,
touches.
J-Mo.
J-Mo's going to just
CD.
roast Trayvon Diggs deep.
Yeah, I have a feeling
CD's going for 200.
CD, dude, he might. I mean, honestly, he's kind of due for a big game. He's kind of been held back because they're either playing in blowouts or they're playing really
Or
close
because his
games.
quarterback is Dak Prescott.
No, yeah. But yeah, I think this will be a good game just in terms of total offense. Jake Ferguson, whoever you got on these offenses, start them because, 52.5 points over under is crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy for sure. Yeah. Just give me Detroit. I don't know why. I'm going against my gut feeling here,
Okay.
and I'm calling the bluff on that line. They're like, no, come on. There's no way the Lions are going to cover that line on the road. I'm like, all right, I'll take it. I'm just calling the bluff.
Just Casino Royaling right now.
Right. Mr. Bond, yeah.
Let's go on to the Sunday night game. This is another road favorite. A lot of these, obviously. We got the Cincinnati Bengals traveling over to MetLife Stadium to take on the Giants.
Is this a Sunday night game just because there's some unwritten contract in the NFL that every Sunday night game has to feature either the Giants or the Cowboys or the Eagles?
Yeah. An
NFC East team always has to be in Sunday night football. What is this? Why was Detroit Dallas not the Sunday night game?
I heard they wanted to flex I think it was the Commanders Ravens game to the Sunday night game, but
I can't stand watching Baltimore on Sunday nights because they always win and it's
they always just destroy whoever they're playing.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to bed.
I do feel like I think I heard something like CBS has a contract or whatever, and they're not going to. They didn't let the NFL flex the game because they can't flex games at a certain point in the year. It's only later on in the year that they can do it. I'm not sure the specifics of it. But honestly, this game's a 3.5 point spread for me. The Bengals are favored on the road. But for some reason, man, I just want to pick the Giants. I picked the Giants last week, and they won, and they were underdogs. I like the Giants' defense. I like Tyrone Tracy, and I think he's got a good matchup against the Bengals' defense, kind of similar to, the Seahawks' defense that he was matched up to. This is a team with a slightly better secondary than they do run D. And Tyrone Tracy looked very elusive, very speedy. and they're hopefully going to have Malik Neighbors back from that concussion, because
Yeah, I'm
he had a
going with the
short week.
Giants, dude.
Yeah, I like what Daniel Jones was able to do against the Seahawks secondary without Malik Neighbors. That kind of gives me more confidence that he's going to be able to do well with Neighbors. Um, I do think Bengals are probably going to be extremely pissed that they lost to the Ravens, like the way they did. I mean, super close game. Basically, if they just make that field goal, game's over, and they win, huge win. And now they're, what are they, 1-4? They've only won one game, right?
The Bengals, yeah.
Yeah, and the Giants getting the momentum going with that win. Obviously, they lost the Cowboys, and they've been playing teams close, and I like them to just win this game. Actually, I feel like, or play them close. 3 points, maybe lose by 3. They put points on the board this year. Like, they're not one of those offenses that just doesn't put points on the board. They've been able to get a lot of field goals if they're not able to score touchdowns. So yeah, I like the Giants.
The Giants are second worst against the run in the league on defense, which kind of surprises me
Wow.
because I came away from that Seattle game thinking that the Giants were really legit on defense.
I mean, I don't think Kenneth Walker had a good game. I don't. I gotta look up his stats, but I don't think he played very well against the Giants. Um, and I don't.
Yeah, so the Giants are like pretty good against the pass and really bad against the run, at least on the season. So it averages out to basically middle of the pack in terms of yards per play allowed.
Uh-huh.
So part of me feels like an idiot for taking Daniel Jones over Joe Burrow. And the thing is, it's a must-win game for the Bengals. I mean, they're 1-4.
That's
I mean, at a
very
certain
true.
point, I know they get off to, they're like notoriously a slow starting team, and then middle of the season they turn it on, they go on a winning streak, and it's got to start at some point, right?
Uh-huh.
And I know I said I was going to Giants, but I think the Bengals just have to win this game. I mean, it's kind of like we were talking about with the the Jags last week against
Yeah. Yeah,
the
that's very
Colts. It was
true.
like it was a gotta have it game for the Jaguars. They could not lose that game, or else their season was done.
Mm-hmm.
And they almost let it slip away, but they didn't. And I think the Bengals are just so desperate, and you cannot go 1-5. So then the question becomes: do they win by more than 3? And they covered 3.5 point spread,
Oof.
and that makes it even tougher. So I think I'm gonna pick the Giants to cover, but I'll take the Bengals to
To
win.
win. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll say Giants. Yeah, I'm gonna take Giants plus 3.5.
No, I don't. I don't hate that because I do think just I just think that the Bengals offense is great. Obviously, Giants have been improving on defense. I think. I mean, they were doing great against the Seahawks. Had huge special teams plays, defensive plays.
I mean, dude, they pretty much shut down DK Metcalf and Smith and Jigba. I mean,
I think
I,
JSN had a
I
touchdown right towards the end of the
he
game.
did at the very end,
Yeah,
at the very end of the game.
and
So
and
him and
Kenneth Walker
DK at
had
that point,
19 rushing yards. I just looked it up. He had 19 rushing yards that game. He had
yeah,
7 catches for like 40 yards, but I mean, he had 3 touchdowns against the Lions last week. So I think he had
and
whatever
like,
60 total yards is nothing for him. So
and it's like, do the Bengals have is Chase Brown anywhere near as good as
Kenneth
Kenneth Walker?
Walker,
I think Kenneth Walker's.
I like him. Um, I really think Zach Moss. I think he's hurt, so maybe we will see a lot of Chase Brown. And I picked him up in fantasy. I drafted him in fantasy. So
Yeah,
that he's very fast. I think he's got like a whatever, like a 4.3 or 4.4, 40. So he's a fast running back. I just don't. I think in terms of running backs that I've seen, I like Tyrone Tracy more on the Giants. I mean, watching him play, didn't get a touchdown or anything, but 129 yards. looked speedy. I favor the Giants with Malik Neighbors. I mean, we basically have
Yeah.
like like young Jamar Chase. We're basically having two forms of Jamar Chase playing against each other right now. Like huge, really good LSU receiver, reception
Yeah.
heavy, and can get deep balls thrown to him and stuff. I think Daniel Jones. I haven't seen Daniel Jones turn the ball over besides that one game against the Vikings in Week 1. Um, so I don't hate picking the Giants here to win. Um, got one
Yeah.
more
The
game.
the Bengals on defense are not good. They're eighth worst in the league in yards per play allowed.
No,
Um,
and I,
I think they're good. I just think they need to win, but I'm going to take the Giants to cover it. So you're taking the Giants plus 3.5 too.
yeah, and I think they win as well. Um, and now we're
Oh,
going to the Monday night game. Um, we got the Buffalo Bills taking on the Jets in MetLife as well. So we got two back-to-back MetLife games. Um, looked for a billion players to get injured in these two games.
yeah. Gosh, dude, MetLife should be.
Torn down.
It should be
Seriously,
more than torn down. It should be vacated and then blown up.
nuked. Just drop a nuke on it.
They should take a wrecking ball to that place, dude. MetLife is a war
Graveyard.
crime.
Yeah, I'm glad Sterling Shepard's playing on a grass field, dude. It's good for him because they freaking just
They
ruined him.
ruined Sterling Shepard's career, dude.
Yeah,
That dude literally was like jogging down the field and just blew out his ACL
yeah, that is
at MetLife.
effed up.
Gosh, dude.
Let's Bills are favorites on the road. Obviously, they're not traveling far. This is like a 3 hour drive, 2 hour drive to New York City. I don't know how big upstate New York is because I've never really
It's
been.
pretty big,
Okay, maybe like 4 hours then, but still,
but it's the same
yeah,
time zone.
it's the
you know,
same
that-
state.
Yeah,
They're not traveling out of state. It's East
yeah.
Coast. Um, I think I like the Bills in this game. I know they're 2.5 point favorites, but I just have a feeling like in terms of like stability, obviously the Jets just fired Robert Saleh. We talked about that in our Week 5 reactions video. Um, I don't like the fact that you're switching to a new coordinator. They want like I just saw a report that came out that Saleh wanted to fire Hackett and was going to demote him from calling the plays, and then they fired Saleh, so Hackett's staying as the play caller, which that
Jeez.
doesn't loom very or doesn't bode very well for that offense. I mean, Rodgers
Gosh,
threw
dude.
3 picks. Um, I, I just there's like not a ton to like about them right now. Obviously, I like Rodgers, and I like Garrett Wilson, but I feel like this is gonna be kind of like a get right game almost for the Bills because they've been looking off. They lost their last 2 games, um, and I feel like they need a dominant win. And I feel like I don't know I don't have any definitive stats, but I feel like the Bills are pretty good on Monday Night Football. I know for a fact they smoked the Jags when they played on Monday night this year, but just in terms of like generally, I think they're
They've
pretty
played
good.
on Monday night twice this year already. This will be their second
Yeah,
time.
yeah, they beat the Jags on Monday Night Football.
Gosh, I didn't even remember that game at all. The Jags are just so
Well, I think the Commanders played the Bengals too. That's why you don't
forgettable.
remember it. That was the Bengals Commanders game. That was awesome. And then it was like a
Oh, yeah.
blowout, and that game were on at the same time. So you kind of forget about one. I don't know. I just feel like even though Josh has not looked great, he hasn't looked terrible. He hasn't thrown those back-breaking interceptions that he
Yeah.
has through his first couple of years in his career. I don't think he hasn't even thrown a pick this year. So, I don't think this is going to be a game where Sauce Gardner is able to eliminate, one of these wide receivers because none of them are really, like, oh, we need this guy to be good because our offense is depending on him. There's no real one big playmaker for their offense right now besides James Cook, and he's kind of hard to eliminate as he's their starting running back.
Yeah.
So I just like the Bills just offense in general. And Brees Hall's kind of been looking bad. I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, he hasn't had a good performance for a couple weeks. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, Braylon Allen's looked pretty decent. But I don't think, we're going to see Braylon Allen superseding Brees on the depth chart. But yeah, I like the Bills in this game. How about you, Aust?
I'm going to channel my inner Skip Bayless. Everything you just said is completely, utterly wrong. I could not disagree with you more.
Uh-oh.
Aaron bleeping Rodgers.
But he's errant Rodgers.
Errant Rodgers. No. Everything you just said is completely wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, it is my turn. Okay. Never underestimate the head coach being fired and the interim coach bump. We talked about it with Andy Dalton on the Cardinals. They rallied, they won that game against the Raiders.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh was the issue. They didn't play hard for him. They didn't like him. Aaron Rodgers had no respect for him. Does he have respect for Jeff Ulbrich? Probably more than he does Saleh. I just think when a coach is circling the drain, like Robert Saleh was, it has a massive effect on the team. Players don't play hard for him. Everything is just out of sorts. The culture is just... I think... Look, and even in spite of all that, the Jets still rank number 1 in the league in yards per play allowed.
Yeah.
And they're a really good defense.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I think this is where the Jets make a statement and turn their season around.
Okay.
Simple as that.
See it. I mean, I was just thinking, Josh kind of has bad performances against the Jets. He lost that week 1 game against them last year. But we haven't been seeing that same Josh, and that's kind of where I'm changing to pick the Bills here. And we haven't been seeing that same Josh kind of cuts both ways because we haven't seen the backbreaking losing, and we haven't been seeing backbreaking
We haven't seen the 4
winning.
turnover games.
Yeah. We haven't seen where Josh just makes an insane play and just ruins the defense, like the opposing defense. Like
I lost all faith in the Bills when they got that turnover against the Texans deep in their territory and got a field goal out of it.
Yeah.
That was just pathetic. That's so bad. That is so bad, dude. I mean, you get the ball inside the red zone, end of the game, you're down. Golden opportunity to take a touchdown and steal a game that you were probably going to lose.
Yeah.
You get a field goal, you tie it up, you still lose anyway.
Dude,
I'm telling you, it's McDermott, dude. He's a loser. He's a loser. He's a loser, dude. Him and Staley, losers, dude.
We have to make a special page, just an image for the channel, just the FBI's most wanted list, and it's just Staley,
Don McDermott, FBI
Shanahan.
number 1 most wanted. Yeah, Shanahan. He can't fool me,
Shanahan,
dude. I'm
Shane Waldron.
I'm familiar with Shanahan's game, dude. Yeah, that guy is a loser.
Dude,
even though
I don't like is the match we just talked about. Zach Brown or Zach Taylor, Zach Brown, the Bengals head coach. I'm not a fan of him. I don't know why. I just feel like I just don't see what he does to inspire his team. I feel like he's just like a vanilla ice cream coach.
Yeah, he's definitely very plain bagel. Absolutely. He just
has Joe Burrow and he has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and that's why they win. And we've seen
he got spit out of that machine that produces all the Shanahan disciples.
Yeah.
He just was he got spit out of the Sean McVay machine, but just with none of the personality at all. Just personality turned down to 0. All the sliders, her personality are just down to 0.
Yeah.
It doesn't make him a bad coach,
Yeah.
I mean,
I just feel like he just When you see like even Sean Payton, dude, like when Sean Payton's like yelling at his quarterback, like when he was yelling at Russ when like Russ turned over the game, that's
Now
got to
Sean Payton's
motivate the
got a lot of
player. You know,
he's got a lot of personality, Sean
yeah.
Payton.
That's what I'd like to see out of a coach. Not I don't want to see like the coach be a distraction like Nick Sirianni, like we were talking about earlier. I don't like that, but
Yeah.
I like when a coach actually like kind of has some moxie and is like, like emotional at points, like Peyton, like Sean
Like,
Payton,
yeah.
like Dan
Uh,
Campbell.
like I
There's
was gonna
plenty
say,
of coaches.
Dan Campbell is like far end of the spectrum.
Harbaugh, I like
Personality
Harbaugh's
cranked up
where,
to the max.
yeah,
Yeah. Harbaugh's like weirdness and all of his like crackpot scientific theories and
yeah,
stuff like that, and all of his like words of wisdom and all that stuff. Yeah. So like far end of the spectrum is like those guys, Pete Carroll,
yeah.
and
Pete
then
Carroll,
far end of the other end of the spectrum, you got just like
Jonathan Gannon,
very
Zach Taylor.
yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Shane Steichen.
Steichen, yeah. We haven't seen much of what's his Callahan, the coach of the Titans.
Yeah, it's only been like a month, so
Yeah,
give him some time. But I do feel like he's right out of the plain bagel machine.
yeah.
Stefanski too.
Yeah.
Stefanski's another.
Although
Yes, dude.
he's kind of like just getting pissed at Deshaun. I've noticed, like when you just look at him on the sideline, he just looks like, "What the hell's going on here?" Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
at least
the,
for
the,
him, we've kind of seen that the team is good without Deshaun, so he's kind of got like an alibi, unlike, um, Robert Saleh, who his team has just been losing season since he's got there. Like we've seen.
I thought they did okay last year, though.
They
That's the
did
thing. I
seven and
thought
nine both years.
they did okay without Rodgers, but I really just think Rodgers just doesn't respect Salah at all, and he knows that Salah has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knew, I guess, that Salah had no idea what he's doing, and he's like, I'm using the last years of my career to try to win one last Super with this clown.
Yeah. Well, do you remember when what game was it? I think it was 2 weeks ago where Salah tried to hug him after they scored a touchdown, and
Oh
Rodgers
yeah,
pushed him away, and he said it's too early or something like that. And like
right.
I remember seeing that like as I'm watching the game, like wow, that was like weird, and
This
I
is
didn't really think about it as much, and then
this
now
is what I
looking
was telling
back,
you.
yeah,
This is what I was telling you about Salah. I feel like he doesn't know how to be a coach, so he just does whatever he thinks a coach should do. He's like, oh well, I should I should I should go hug Rogers right now, right? That's
yeah,
what a coach would do. I've seen Pete Carroll do that before,
yeah,
right? And then Rogers is like, get away from me.
yeah, yeah. He's just like what? It's the first quarter. it's the
Yeah,
I think it literally was the first quarter of the game. He's trying to give him a hug.
yeah, This again, Salah doesn't know what he's doing. He's just like he's trying to like go through the motions of it. Like he's like trying to imitate
Yeah, I
an
think
NFL coach.
I think he
He's
just
trying
knew
to
the
like
pressure was on. If you're talking about another New York coach, like look at like somebody like Daboll, who's like I feel like Daboll's kind of like on a hot seat, even though he went to the playoffs like 2 years ago.
dude, that idiot Joe Shane should be on the hot seat. That's another guy that reeks of loser too.
FBI most wanted, FBI number one most wanted
Yeah,
GM.
and
Uh,
GM's Dable's up there for sure. I mean, Andrew Barry
yeah, oh yeah. I
could be up there. I mean, the thing is, he's made a lot of good moves, but the Deshaun thing is just like the Deshaun Watson thing is literally the Titanic of the
yeah.
NFL. Like that is literally just uh, the most expensive disaster ever. And
I
your
just want to see the
franchise is
Browns tank for
sitting at the bottom
Ashton.
of the ocean.
Need to see him just tank for Ashton Jante, dude. That's who I want. Or how do you say his last name?
Gent, it's Genty.
Janty? Okay, yeah, dude. Just tank for him, please. I
I don't
don't.
think you have to tank for a running back
Dude,
nowadays. So
isn't he
like
projected to go like in the top five? I thought he was projected to go like super high.
I mean, maybe, but he's a running back.
Yeah, dude. But
Did I show you that the chart I made of the highest drafted running backs by year?
no. We
See if I
can
can pull it up here.
maybe we could throw it in the video at the end. We're kind of
Yeah.
rambling right now, but we'll.
But yeah, whatever. Um, I'll send it over to you.
Okay.
All right, so that's it though. We made all of our
Yeah, all our
picks.
picks are in. We have the reactions video of last week coming out before this one, so you'll see the reactions before you get our week 6 picks. Other
Yeah,
than
where we
that, guys,
review how bad we were
yeah,
or how
how
mid we
mid,
were.
yeah, how very jet, how Robert Sala we were. Um,
But this week we're both going 14-0, even though
even though we picked pretty different teams.
we picked opposite picks. We're still gonna both go 14-0.
Yeah, we're somehow the
We have
greatest.
contradictory picks, but we're still doing it.
All right. Make sure you guys leave a like on the video. Make sure you guys comment what picks you agree with, what picks you disagree with. Make sure you go check out my brother's channel, CFB Deep Dives. He uploads awesome in-depth analysis on Ohio State games, and he uploads his picks and rankings and
I
stuff
do
like that.
more. I
Yeah.
do more than Ohio State. I do, other teams as well, but Big Ten and SEC focused if you're into college football.
Yes, he's got great videos. Please go check him out. Please drop a like. Please subscribe. Hit that bell button. Other than that, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.